Hey guys, welcome to post-match chat. Two games in the IPL today, game number 14 and game number 15. And they were two completely different matches. One of them was a low-scoring, one-sided affair. The second game was a high-scoring, very exciting affair. Let me take you through both of them very, very quickly. My name is Aatif Nawaz. Before I get into everything, please do take a minute to subscribe to our channel. It always helps us out. And whatever you think about what I'm saying here, make sure you leave us a comment as well. Maybe you hit that thumbs up button if you like it, please. Anyway, let's go to the 14th match. It was the Punjab Kings versus the Sunrisers Hyderabad. Now, coming into this game, the Sunrisers had lost all three of their games. It was crucial for them to try and get a win, and a win they got in very, very convincing fashion. They won by 9 wickets, and it all started with the Punjab Kings innings, and it never really got going. KL Rahul, who's had a difficult season as it is, was dismissed early doors for 4 by Bhuvneshwar Kumar. And the innings really struggled to kick on. They got 120, only a few batsmen able to get into double figures. So Mayank Agarwal got 22 from 25, really kind of struggling to let loose. Chris Gayle as well looked weirdly kind of, in his shell. It's weird to see Chris Gayle like this. He's this destructive, aggressive batsman, and yet he couldn't really get his innings going. He got 15 from 17 deliveries, no sixes in that 15. That's unusual for Chris Gayle. And Nicholas Pooran run out without facing a ball. His nightmare season continues. Nicholas Pooran hasn't really got going at all this season. He was so good in the previous season, if you remember, in the UAE. This year, he's really struggling. And getting run out without facing one ball is one of the worst ways to get out. It's the most depressing thing ever. Now, the top 4 all had a strike rate of less than 100. They all struggled to kind of get going, and they put their team in a bit of a hole. Deepak Hooda came in. He got 13 off 11. Moses Enriquez got 14 off 17. Shah Rukh Khan, who played so well in the previous game, 22 off 17. So he started to accelerate a little bit, but again, just got out at that crucial point. And then Fabian Allen, Morgan Ashwin, and Mohammad Shami couldn't really build any pressure. So 120 all out. That's right, with 2 balls to spare, all out. Who took the wickets? I will tell you. Khalil Ahmed again. Khalil Ahmed, 4 overs, 3 for 21. Superb spell from him. Just took those wickets at a crucial time towards the end of the innings before any momentum could build. Abhishek Sharma as well. If you told me Abhishek Sharma was going to be the guy taking all these wickets at the start of the IPL, I would not have believed you. 4 overs, 2 for 24 for him, including 10 dot balls. So impressive. And of course, Rashid Khan, everybody talks about Rashid Khan. They know he's possibly the best leg spinner in the world right now. 4 overs, 1 for 17 and 11 dot balls. So they really did a number on the Punjab Kings, did the Sunrisers Hyderabad, in complete control. And then they knocked off the runs without too much incident. 73-run partnership at the top made everything kind of academic. Even when David Warner was dismissed for 37, a run a ball 37, that's kind of all he had to do. He didn't have to go faster than run a ball. At that point, the game was pretty academic. Johnny Bairstow, 63 from 56 deliveries. His dream run continues. And Kane Williamson back in the side today. He didn't have to have much of an impact. He got 16 from 19 deliveries, but all of a sudden, that middle order looks a lot more convincing. You got Virat Singh and Kedar Jadhav to come, and Vijay Shankar as well, Abhishek Sharma. They can all sort of bat, but it's much more convincing with your 3 overseas players right at the top: David Warner, Johnny Bairstow, Kane Williamson. They're making most world 11s, these 3 guys. So a very convincing win for the Sunrisers Hyderabad. They move up the table a little bit into 5th place with their first win. So they've now played for 1-1 with 2 points in the table. And the Punjab Kings dropped to last position in the IPL now. They've played 4 games, won 1, lost 2, but because of the big margin of defeat, they're right at the bottom there. They're going to have to do a lot of work, the Punjab Kings. On yesterday's post-match chat, I had Nikesh Ragani with me, and he was talking about how this team really needs to get a little bit more consistent. They're either going to blow hot or cold. A lot of their players are kind of, extremes. They either play incredibly well or they don't fire at all. And that was the case. The latter was the case. Anyway, moving on to the second game of today. It was doubleheader today in the IPL. And that was Chennai Super Kings versus the Kolkata Knight Riders. And coming into this game, the Chennai Super Kings had built some momentum. Kolkata still had that 1 win to their name as well. They were looking to make it 2. And, things started very, very well. Chennai, batting first, scored a mammoth 220 in their allotted overs. Only 3 wickets gone. Rutraj Gaikwad was fantastic up top. He got 64 in no time at all, 42 deliveries, looking fantastic. He could have gone on. I mean, there was at one point where the commentators were saying this guy looks good for 100 here, and then Nazar Lagadi, he couldn't. He got out, Rutraj Gaikwad. But what a knock that was from him! Laid a foundation for his team. Then Faf du Plessis, his opening partner, started to open his shoulders and really go off the attack. By far the pick of the batsman, 95 for Faf du Plessis from his 60 deliveries, which includes 9 fours and 4 sixes. It was a belligerent innings. And he had some support as well. Moin Ali, he played 25 off 12 balls, 200 plus strike rate. Mahendra Singh Dhoni as well. He managed to have a little cameo, 17 runs of 8 balls. And then Ravi Jadeja had just the 1 ball to face, and he hit it for 6. That's a 600 strike rate for Ravi Jadeja. Fantastic from him. So 220 was always going to be very difficult. And, when you look at the bowlers for Kolkata, Varun Chakravarti, who opened the bowling, 4 overs, 1 for 27, pretty good. But other than him, and maybe Sunil Narayan, 4 overs, 1 for 34, everything else looks very messy. Pat Cummins went for 58 in his 4 overs. Prasidh Krishna went for 49. Andre Russell only bowled 2 overs. He went for 27. And Kamlesh Nagarkoti, he bowled 2 overs for 25. So very, very expensive all the way round. And that's considering they bowled a decent amount of dot balls as well. So Sunil Ryan 10, Prasidh Krishna 10, Varun Chakravarti 8. They bowled about 40 dot balls. And despite that, they managed to concede 220 runs. It just shows how good that wicket in Mumbai is. The Wankhede Stadium, you need a big total at that ground, and they got one. Now then, Kolkata come in to reply, and their openers, their top order had been doing reasonably well up until now. Nitish Rana, I'm a huge fan of Nitish Rana. He couldn't get going today, and it was all because of one man, really. Deepak Chahar, incredible at the top, made it so difficult to score off him. 4 overs, 4 for 29 were his figures. 14 dot balls in that as well. 14 dot balls, incredible. And then he got great support from Lungi and Gidi, 4 overs, 3 for 28, with 15 dot balls. If you've got 2 fast bowlers in there delivering you 29 dot balls, that's before you get into the rest of your bowling order. It's always going to be difficult for the team. So the top order, the top 5 couldn't get into double figures. Nitish Rana, 9. Shubman Gill, 0. Rahul Tripathi, 8. Owen Morgan, 7. And then Sunil Ryan, 4. At that point, you think, dead and buried, right? The Kolkata Knight Riders, they are finished. 31 for 5, it is game over. And then in came Dinesh Karthik and Andre Russell, and they put on a fantastic partnership. All of a sudden, they kind of gave Kolkata some hope, right? 40 runs for Dinesh Karthik of 24 deliveries before he was LBW to Ngidi. Brilliant innings. Similarly, Andre Russell, incredible, showing some of that Dre Russ of old, that Dre Russ that captured the imagination of the world with his big hitting. He got 54 runs from 22 deliveries, outstanding innings, a strike rate of 245 and 6 sixes in that knock as well. And that's a fantastic innings, obviously brilliant. And then came Pat Cummins, right? Now, Pat Cummins, who was left not out at the end, he ran out of partners. He had 66 runs of 34 deliveries. Cummins, you think of Pat Cummins, oh, he's going to be effective with the ball, but he just got you 66, strike rate of 194, and also hit 6 sixes. Now, this was the situation. They were chasing a high total. And in the end, Kamlesh Nagarkoti, went to Ngidi. Those 2 runouts at the end on the next 2 deliveries, Varun Chakravarti and Prasidh Krishna, both run out, both involving Deepak Chahar. It was kind of heartbreaking for Kolkata because they came so close. In the end, all out for 202. I mean, what can you do? You feel for them for sure, but you have to tip your hat to the Chennai Super Kings for just holding their nerve and going through. It's one of those things they talk about, the habit of winning. When you're winning games on a regular basis, you put yourself in that position. And on the basis of this win, Chennai Super Kings have now gone to the top of the IPL table. Chennai Super Kings on top of the IPL, played 4 games, won 3, lost 1, with 6 points and a very, very high net run rate. They're right at the top. Now, the RCB still have a game in hand. They've also got 6 points, a weaker net run rate than the Chennai Super Kings, but they've also got the game in hand. So if they win the next game against the Rajasthan Royals, they'll go top of the table. But for now, at least tonight, the Chennai Super Kings sit atop the IPL. So they'll be very, very pleased. Now, Kolkata, on the other hand, who started so promisingly, they've now gone 4 games and they've only won 1. They've lost 3 games in a row, Kolkata. That's despite strong performances from Nitish Rana. Obviously, he didn't fire today, but they'll be frustrated. They came really, really close. They probably let a few too many runs go by when they were fielding because 202 is a heck of a score, but 220 is a lot to chase, is a lot to ask for. They'll go back, they'll look at their bowling. Owen Morgan will consider his options for the next match. But right now, they sit in sixth place in the IPL tables, outside of that playoff qualification space. So they've got a lot of thinking to do. It's still early days, of course. Teams have only played 4 and 3 matches, but they'll be looking at their early performances, thinking, how can we capitalize? So far, Delhi Capitals, RCB, and the Chennai Super Kings looking very, very good. And that's what happened in today's IPL matches. An incredible doubleheader. The player of the match in the second game, unsurprisingly, was Faf du Plessis, an extraordinary 95 for him. And in the previous match, it was Johnny Bairstow. So a good day for foreign players as well at the IPL, getting themselves loads of player of the match awards. Anyway, who was your player of the match today? Where do you think it all went wrong for Kolkata? What do you think the Punjab Kings need to do to become a little bit more competitive? I want to know. So please leave a comment below about how the Punjab Kings can resurrect their IPL campaign, and also what can Kolkata need to do to turn their fortunes around. In the meantime, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel Post Match Chat. My name is Aatif Nawaz. We'll be back another time with another Post Match Chat.